At Ugly Sofa Gaming, we've been playing Dreams since it first came available in early access back in April 2019. We've become well known in the Dreams community as players of Dreams. We enjoy experiencing other people's content, and we're one of the biggest advocates championing the fact there is quality content released worthy of your time every single day in Dreams. One of the questions we get asked a lot is, why have we never sat down and created a game in Dreams ourselves? While I believe making a game in Dreams is more approachable than traditional game development engines, there is still a massive learning curve you'll need to conquer in order to become an expert with the tools. But Dreams has been released now for almost a full year, and the truth is you don't need to be an expert to create a game in Dreams. You don't actually need to know much of anything. If you've got a bit of an imagination and you've ever used a search engine, you can make a game in Dreams. And with Project Fool, we're going to prove it, we're going to do it in 9 months, and we're going to show you how to do it as well. Dreams isn't just a game, it's a massive collection of incredible tools you can use to create with, but its most powerful tool is not too often talked about. A lot of people don't even know it exists. At any point in Dreams, you can open a search engine and you can type in whatever you want. Rocks, a house, the Batmobile, whatever. And Dreams will give you loads of different suggestions, and you can then take any of those assets and stick them into your game. In practice, this means that there could be an artist who has no desire to make a game, but instead spends hundreds of hours crafting an absolutely gorgeous looking tree, and then shares it with the community. You, someone who possibly wants to make a game set in a forest, can take the tree and immediately import it into your level, saving you a ridiculous amount of time. And this feature isn't just limited to assets like trees and rocks. People are making fully playable characters, first-person shooter templates, enemy AI, Dark Souls combat systems, in-game logic which takes a considerable amount of time to learn and build and understand, but it's all right there for you to use. And the really exciting part, which I've been trying to stress to people for ages, is every single day this tool becomes more powerful with each and every new creation that's uploaded. Imagine what the feature is going to look like in a year, or 5, or even 10. Dreams is going to become an absolute juggernaut of shareable digital assets and game logic. But even today, right now, it's already powerful enough to help us make a game from scratch with very little know-how. So, let's get started. The whole point of Project Fool is to show people you can make a game in Dreams without having to invest a load of time into first learning how every single thing inside it works. That being said, if you've never played Dreams before, the first thing you're going to want to do is at least play the first couple of tutorials Media Molecule provides. Dreams doesn't control like most other games. Its default control setting is you have an imp, basically a cursor, that exists in a 3D space, which you maneuver with motion controls. It takes a little bit of getting used to, and at a bare minimum, you're going to want to learn some of the basic moves, like how to zip around your level and how to move and manipulate objects and so on. We don't recommend trying to power through all of the tutorials in one go, as that's a good way to get overwhelmed. If, unlike us, you do want to learn more, you can always revisit them later. But for the drag, drop and play approach to creation we're using for Project Fool, the first couple of tutorials will be more than enough. And so, with the absolute basics learned, in terms of skill level with Dreams, you're pretty much caught up with us.
This is where the fun begins.
First things first, we needed to come up with an actual idea for our game. If, like us, you're only going to be using remixable assets and logic, it does mean you're going to be limited in scope. That's fine, limits are good. They'll keep you focused, and hopefully, they'll keep your game to a scale you can contend with. Everybody wants to build the next Skyrim, the next Zelda, but Dreams is littered with abandoned projects with half-finished levels, broken characters, and bad gameplay, and it's almost always because the creator has bitten off more than they can chew. You need to think about what your gameplay mechanics are going to be, what your setting looks like. You then need to go into Dreams, research community assets and logic, and make sure there's enough content for what you want to accomplish. One thing we want to achieve with Project Fool is to increase the amount of remixable assets and logic currently available. We want to get more knowledgeable creators involved, helping to build stuff not just for us, but for the whole community to use. But while we already have many offers of help, we can't solely rely on that. So in our planning processes, we need to be ready to scale down the complexities of Project Fool if necessary to a point where we can make it by ourselves, with the assets and logic already available in the community. With all that in mind, we've decided Project Fool is going to be a first-person narrative game with elements of horror, sci-fi, and mystery. It's going to be no longer than an hour in length. The core gameplay will revolve around exploring a futuristic hospital housed in an abandoned space station, with the main character trying to figure out the details of what's happened. Sounds pretty cool, right? Let me take you through the reasons behind some of those choices. First, a first-person perspective means we don't have to worry about creating a character, as there are numerous first-person puppets already available to choose from. A first-person perspective also lends itself really well to horror, and it's super easy to turn that into a virtual reality game within Dreams, which really turns up the intensity for those with a headset. Having the hospital in a science fiction setting is partly because of the story we want to tell, but also because sci-fi is so popular, that means there's already loads of different assets we've already found that we'll be able to start making our game with. We want the game to last no longer than an hour, because it guarantees the project will remain in a scale we can manage and complete in time for our November 1st release date. And we're also big believers that, at the moment at least, Dreams is best suited for shorter gaming experiences. Having the core gameplay revolve around exploration means we can focus on building the environment, the atmosphere, and the narrative, rather than complicated gameplay mechanics. With the right logic and support from the community, we may be able to incorporate light combat, puzzles, and some terrifying surprises, but if needed, we can always fall back on our core gameplay mechanic of exploring a spine-chilling environment, with the player's goal being to uncover the mystery. So, taking our own advice, we've spent a good couple of hours just searching through Dreams, finding different assets we thought might be useful. If you search for Ugly Sofa Gaming in Dreams, you'll be able to find our public in-game collection we've curated for Project Fool, but we're going to show you just a few of the highlights right now. We found an amazing science fiction level building pack made by creator Civil War. Not only have they created dozens of different amazing looking assets, but they've used them to build a sprawling, creepy facility to show off just exactly what you can do with them. We were actually so impressed with this pack, it's definitely going to act as the foundation for at least one of the main levels of Project Fool. It's exactly what we'd love to see more of in Dreams, and we really can't applaud the creator enough.
I mean, maybe this sort of thing with the alerts and the fog and everything could actually work in the lower depths of the hospital, where, because the whole thing is that the power's gone out, and you need to get to like the basement to basically find out what's gone on with the missing people and get the power going again. So
another creation that caught our eye was a rundown subway station made by creator Shuddock. It has a wonderfully eerie atmosphere to it. Me and Sam briefly quarrelled over the sanitation aspect of building a hospital out of dirty subway parts, but you can't deny that it has style.
Maybe if you're like thinking about like the lower parts of like the hospital, like the basement and the
But if try and go down that hallway, walk down the hallway slowly with that flickering lighting, and imagine the graffiti wasn't there. And I think that would look quite clinical.
See, I think there's too many cracks. You wouldn't have that many cracks in a hospital because it's really hard to clean. You especially wouldn't have that floor.
Why not?
Because of all the cracks. Hospitals don't have cracks. They have like smooth. They don't even have tiles. They just have like, I don't know what it's called.
Well, to be fair though, it is a sci-fi hospital, so maybe they have.
There's just so many grooves for the germs.
Since the big mystery to uncover in Project Fool is finding out exactly what happened to all the people who've disappeared from the hospital, we needed something else for the player to interact with to give pieces of lore. One idea we're considering is the hospital has admin or janitorial droids still roaming the halls. While investigating some spooky sound effects, we discussed our goal to make a game that's truly scary, with a more psychological, cerebral form of horror, rather than it just being jump scares.
Like little girl, child horror.
Hang on. It's subtle though, I like this like very subtle instruments and stuff, or sound effects in the background of it. Subtlety is what we're going for. I want it to be so subtle that people aren't even sure if they're meant to be scared. That's what I want.
I think if you go too subtle, I think people will get bored.
Maybe, but that's the thing. I want to experiment. I want to make the weirdest horror game ever. I was talking to Sam about this earlier. I want to do a sound effect, which is just me going like, hey. And I want to put that into the game so it's behind you. And I want to make it so quiet that it's basically not even playing, and I want to see if it does something, if it just like psychologically, like your ears are picking it up, you're not like fully hearing it. Am I sounding mad right now?
Yeah. With
a solid game concept starting to form and a healthy collection of assets, it was time for us to really start building something. An important thing to consider when using remixable assets from many different creators is there's a good chance you're going to end up with a non-uniform style if you're not careful. Some creators like to embrace Dreams' cartoonish, abstract style, while others craft a more realistic look. If you start building with anything and everything, there's a good chance your scene isn't going to match. Make sure you spend a good amount of time just experimenting with different combinations to find out what works and what doesn't. It's also worth pointing out to anyone not familiar with Dreams, if a creator has made their assets remixable, not only can you use it for your own level, but you can actually edit it and alter it for your own devices if it's not quite what you're looking for. Check out how quickly Sam Frankenstein's several assets together to create a new interesting feature piece for the floor scenery of our game. We've talked about the possibility of the main characters starting in the engine room of the space station and slowly making their way to the hospital. This new asset Sam's made is a section of floor with a glass cover and a small light for maintenance purposes. This could be a great way of marrying these two levels together as the aesthetic slowly starts to change. We continued experimenting and eventually started to build a hallway. Again, we're not actually building any part of the game at this point. Level design is something we'll approach with simple shapes at first in order to get the spacing and the orientation feeling good. Then we'll start to add assets and details in order to flesh it out. We're not completely sold on the final result, but it's a good first step and gave us a great idea of how to proceed. We're going to continue designing with the assets we've found and start making some sets to be used in a teaser trailer we'd like to get out before the end of February. Now that we have a story, the project can start to take a more tangible shape, and I'm a firm believer that it's never too early to start marketing your game. Remember, you're going to want someone to actually play the damn thing when it's finished. We hope you enjoyed the pitch for our game. If you want to get involved in Project Fall, why not get involved in our first community challenge? In our asset search, we've noticed a distinct lack of science fiction medical tools, and so we're asking creators to rise to the challenge. Make your own fictional medical instrument, upload it as a remixable asset, and tag #ProjectFall. We'll feature them all on a stream, and our favourite will make an appearance in our teaser trailer. We're happy to answer any questions in the comments, and we welcome any feedback you guys have for us. Any asset tips, even simple well wishes and snide barbs, just leave a comment. If you want to keep up to date with Project Fall, make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and click the bell to receive our notifications. We stream Project Fall every Wednesday at 5:30 PM GMT on Twitch. You can also find a link to that and the rest of our socials in the video description and in the comments. There will be more episodes of Project Fall on YouTube very soon.
Thank you for watching the video, I hope you enjoyed it. We are Ugly Sofa Gaming and we upload new videos every day from Dreams. If you like our content, please hit the subscribe button, like the video or leave a comment. Share the video in your favourite corner of the internet. Any one of those things really helps us out. Thank you very much.